Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we've got a bit of a... I don't know what the... Right, so now we're on the left-hand side. We're on the left-hand side here. The left-hand side.
JP, what is that car?
That is a Porsche 992.
Can I try and put it in?
Porsche 992, just in for a bit of sound deadening. The customer's come with us and just said there's a bit of rattles and stuff in the doors and everything, and he just wants to get rid of. He's also got potentially a blown speaker on the left-hand side that we're going to look at and investigate, and he's also bought a direct part from Porsche, so we'll get that switched over if it is. Apart from that though, we can move on to the car. We've already done a bit of an inspection video. Checked that everything is nice and ready. We've checked the sound from the left-hand side. There does appear to be some weird noise coming from the left-hand speaker, a lot of rattle coming from it. We've also moved on to the inside of the car, made sure nothing's wrong, and looked at the dash and everything. Everything seems to be good. So now we can move on to the actual doors. So we're going to start on the right-hand side here. It's quite a simple plain door, however there are a lot of joints and bits and pieces in this door that can cause rattles. So pieces like the switches down here, handles maybe not being tightened properly, all of these plastic trim pieces not quite held in properly, or things like the door handle flapping loose, or buttons and such behind the door being loose as well. These are all things that can cause rattles. Also just simple things like keeping things in the pockets can actually create quite a lot of rattle that people don't notice. But we've removed everything in the door, so now we can move on to actually knocking on the door, finding where our rattles are. With this one, we've got some sort of rattle down in this area, quite a shallow one, should be on the actual door card, and the entire door actually has quite a lot of sort of reverb. The entire door seems to shake. There's a little bit of movement on the windows, however, when the doors are closed, that should stop completely as it will seal itself. But yeah, let's give it a knock and see what else we can find. Right there, yeah, that's bad. Oh, and up here there's a lot of rattles as well. Not too bad on the outside, but down below there's a lot there. Right, so now we're on the left-hand side. We can look at this door card the exact same way. Potentially we have a blown speaker on the left-hand side here, but it's still the same diagnostics. We're still going to look at the rattles and everything first. Again, in the same areas, we have these buttons, switches, handles, anything that cannot be, is potentially not tightened down properly. As we take the door card off, we're going to be tightening them down again, making sure this is all secure. Same with all the plastic trims, make sure they're nice and tightly on and make sure nothing's loose, no clips are broken, nothing like that. Then we'll be looking further into the speaker on this side, obviously, but we'll look at that later as well. But first, again, we'll just start with the old rattle test, bang on it, see what we can find, see where the rattles are coming from. Right, as you can probably hear, there's a definite rattle near the speaker there. So obviously there's something going on in there, so we'll look at that further when we get the door card off. But it's generally looking at similar rattles as the other side. Looking more towards up here, there's some definite rattles in this area, so we'll look at the mechanics behind there and see if we can tighten everything down and get that stopped. But other than that, it's the general sound deadening on the door that will help a lot with this sort of stuff. Right, so we found the rattles in all the doors and we know that the left speaker is pretty fucked. But let's start on the right hand side, we'll get this stripped and yeah, we'll move on to sound deadening on the right hand side. So with the door cards off, we can first look at what's already on here before we sound deaden, making sure that everything is nice and tight and how it should be. So first of all, we noticed that this piece, which goes on the front of the door, is actually loose. So what they've done is, previously this has been taken into Porsche for rattle repair. However, they couldn't get this part. So what they've done is drilled out all of the plastic rivets and everything. However, they've just left them drilled out and loose. This isn't good, because then it only leaves one bolt at the end, and they've put in a screw at this end. So this is going to have to be potentially Sikaflexed in, and we'll look at a solution to get this proper nice and tight and securely put in. And also we move on to all the bolts on this. So what we do is we'll go around with a small little ratchet and we'll tighten all of the bolts, make sure they're all nice and tight, and just give them a mark, make sure we get every single one. We've also got this small little piece on the top, tends to rattle quite a lot. We'll get a bit of sound deadening right in there and secure the actual clips at the bottom so it's moving a lot less. But other than that, yeah, let's get started. Now, onto the left-hand door card. As you saw when we pulled it off, this little corner piece was actually broken, and I'm pretty sure the other side had a similar problem, but it was just loose, wasn't completely broken. So this we're gonna have to repair, we're gonna have to glue back on and sort. There was also a couple of other things wrong with this door. Again, there's a screw loose, which we're gonna have to tighten, hence why we go round and tighten all these screws, stop any of those rattles. There's also things like plugs loose, this one is broken and loose. There's a couple of things that are just wrong. So we can go round, double check all these things and fix all these things back down. Same thing again though with this panel, the trim piece. Again, it was missing all of its plastic welds on here and was only held on by one bolt this time, not two like the other one. So this was even worse. So guaranteed this was causing quite a bit of rattle. So we've got that back in, secured, and we're gonna get this bolt tightened down, get all these other bits secure, and then move on to completely covering this as sound deadening and get it sounding nice. Right, we've now got the door cards done and sound deadened. We've completely covered this entire face, and also on these gaps in the middle here, we've done a ring all the way around the outside. This is because these panels tend to, either with age or poor fitment in the beginning, tend to loosen and have breathe. They'll have gaps where air can push in and out, and it tends to sound like a rattle, especially with a larger woofer in the door here. Pushing the air in and out sounds like a rattle. So this will actually create a really nice tight fit for these panels. This one as well, where we're gonna almost create an airtight fit where these are not gonna move and we're not gonna get that push and pull of air as it pushes in and out of the door. This is gonna seal them nicely to get rid of all those sort of sounds. We've also put an entire covering on the back of the door and the outside skin. This is, as I said before, just to give that, get rid of any of the resonation through the actual panel, get rid of all that wobbling in the panel, because it's a nice, large, thin sheet, they tend to wobble. But with all of that done, we then moved on to tidying up all the wires in there. We made sure they're not gonna move around, and tied them nice and tightly. Some of the components as well inside, we've also covered in sound deadening to try and stop them from rattling and moving around as well. We believe they're cause of some of the rattles in there internally. But with all the sound deadening now done, we can move on to the speakers. As we said, on the left-hand side, the customer said that it was potential for a blown speaker, and I'm not sure if you can hear that, but it's like it's grinding on itself. There's something really blown internally. We're not even gonna have to test that. We've already listened to it, it sounds awful, and we know that something's gone wrong internally. So with that in mind, the customer has already supplied a brand new one from Porsche, which is just a case of quick switch over that we'll do for him. It's nice and easy seeing as we're already in here. This is moving nice and freely and it's gonna sound lovely. But we'll get that in and then we can move on to other things. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video.
Your presence here is always greatly appreciated.
Just a bit of me and you together. But apart from that, please check us out on our website. If you want anything like this done to your car, it's quick and easy. We can do all sorts. So please check us out on Cambridge Car Audio website. If you want any sound, if you've got any rattles, sound deadening problems that you really want doing, even any audio upgrades, we can do whatever for you. Apart from that, please like, subscribe, share our content, but also please comment, let Ardal know that you love me more. And I'll see you guys next time.